Went to Walmart today and saw a woman working with her child sitting next to her. Her child was in a shopping cart watching videos on a phone while she stocked shelves. This is the American dream come to life. It's horrendous and despicable what corporations make people, human fucking beings, resort to in order to live in this society. Her baby is sitting there for presumably hours in front of a screen while strangers walk by and her mother works. Sorry if this isn't the correct sub for this. It just makes my blood boil. That poor child. I just know her mother must feel like shit for having to do that. I hate this country and the people who run things. This thread is making me wonder if my mom took me to work 'cause she had to. Or because I wanted to. When she worked at a grocery store, I would stay in the customer service office and color or read a book. When she worked for a vet's office, I would go to work with her a lot. I would help file medical records in alphabetical order and go on the computer to look up how many pets there were with a certain name. I thank my mom for taking me to her vet job. It gave me my love and passion for animals. Plus I got to learn a lot when I was there. Yup, worked with a lady who would sometimes bring her child into the office and would make her sleep in her car while we finished the shift that ended at 1 a.m. She worked 2 full-time jobs and had to report for her other one at 6 a.m. She said getting 2 hours of sleep in was a good deal for her. She lived in some ghetto apartment, in her own words, not mine for the record, in the worst area of town, and would say her neighbors would constantly harass her as a bonus. That isn't like hell. Viva USA. Went to a Waffle House a few years ago. Only one woman was working with her infant daughter. Everyone else called out. Me and my BF were the only customers at the time. We told her we'd go somewhere else, but she asked us to stay BC she needed the tip. I held the baby while she cooked our food. We stayed a while so she could safely breastfeed the baby in case someone came in. We gave her all our cash and went to Walmart to buy her diapers BC. We heard her on the phone saying she only had 2 left when we first walked in. She cried when we came back with the diapers. We were happy to help. I will never forget that night. When I used to live in another town, I would visit the McDonald's closest to my house, and more often than not, I would see the employee kids in one booth. They were either doing homework, playing video games, or watching YouTube on phones or tablets. Walmart could afford to have their own daycares for parents, and they could staff them with higher wage workers who are educated and well trained. It'll never happen. They could also afford to pay for every employee's child's daycare and don't. Fuck them. I used to sleep under my mom's desk at her job in the early 90s because she couldn't afford childcare. This has been going on for a long time. My mom worked in a diner with a bar. I loved going to work with her after school. I would sit in a booth and draw pictures for all the drunk people. They loved buying my drawings from me. I remember going home with my dad at midnight with $20 in the 80s, and back then that was a shit ton of cash to a 9-year-old. Got an Amazon delivery the other day dropped off by a 10-year-old. Her mom was in the car waiting for her. She had the vest on and took the photo for the app and everything. I minded my business 'cause at the end of the day we're all just trying to survive. My kid used to sleep on the floor while I cleaned rich people's houses overnight. I work at Walmart. We have third-party delivery drivers through a company called Spark, and tons of them have their kids with them while they do deliveries all day. The worst was when this one driver was trying to pick up 3 orders to deliver and her car was full with kids. She instructed me to just pile these customers' groceries up right on top of her kids' feet and laps. Also, the Subway in the front has their like 10-year-old son working there, which is apparently legal if it's a family business. He's actually made my subs a few times. He does a good job. I had a job that started at 12 p.m., worked until 8:30 p.m., daycare closed at 6 p.m. So I would go the mile down the road, pick him up at 5:45. Then my husband would pick him up from my work at 6:30 and take him home. It only happened for one summer because when school started again I had a job that I started at 8:30 a.m. and could pick him up at 5:00 from after school program. But yes, it happened and we worked with it. Maybe this mom was at the point in her workday that it was maybe for 30-45 minutes that it happened. I bring my kids to work all the time. I can't find a sitter for my hours and the elderly absolutely adore them. Living the Canadian dream, woman shrugging, light skin tone. Parents don't have villages anymore, so this will become more common. Luckily my mom worked in social services building and they had a low-income daycare nearby, but because she worked there it was free. At her other job I would just color or play games on the computer until her shift ended. When the GOP abolishes Social Security, you will see 90-year-olds in wheelchairs stocking shelves at Walmart. It's not just the corporations, but the government that enables this. If you see this type of economic disparity going on, then document it and then use it to email and call your representatives to shame them into creating a better economy for their constituents. I recently saw 3 kids, 5yo, 1.5yo, baby in a running car unattended outside of a nursing home. Car was unlocked. No parent in sight. I took the kids into the director's office as we tried to figure out WTF was going on. Turns out mom was working as a nursing aide and her babysitter flaked. The oldest kid told me my daddy just got married again. It broke my heart. I work second shift while my partner works third. We plan on him dropping my baby off at my work the last few hours. I work in an office with only one other person while he heads to work. We can't afford childcare. Mass unionization is the only answer. Way back in the 80s, my graduate advisor at RPI had his kid in a crib in his office. One of the lab teachers, PhD candidate, taught with one of his kids in a backpack and the older one coloring on one of the lab tables. It was the norm to have kids at work. Welcome to hell. Easier to just not have kids at this rate. Our late-stage capitalism. I distinctly remember going to my mom's workplace. She worked at an office supply store. Upstairs in the office as an assistant, not sure of her exact duties. I'd run around the store, hang out with the other employees, sleep on the couch in the break room, go in the basement with the guy who took care of breaking down boxes, stocking, delivering, etc. This was in the 90s and early 2000s. This has been going on a long time. It makes me wonder if she brought me to work because she wanted to or because she had to. I went to Walmart today and walked right past a guy selling meth from the back of his truck. It was a little Toyota truck with a topper on it. He had more people in line than the checkout line inside of the store. I am only surprised Walmart would have allowed this. They don't even want my daughter letting her adult brother talk to her for more than a minute when we visit the store. I took my daughter to construction sites when she was a kid. She loved it, but that's different. It's crazy for me that y'all could bring your child to work. My mom sneaked me in a couple of times, but there is no way any employer would give permission here. Cool. The real solution isn't that, of course, but still.